Sea turtle blankets are all the rage right now, but what if you're making a blanket that's not for a baby and you need a sea turtle that's a little more grown up? Get your supplies and join me in my craft room and let's make this really adorable grown-up sea turtle. And hey, before we get started, please make sure you subscribe to my channel and give this video a thumbs up. Let's get started. To make our sea turtle, you're going to want to start with any kind of variegated yarn. I'm using this colorway from Red Heart. Appropriately, it's called Reef. Isn't that beautiful? Look at the beautiful colors. But any variegated yarn will work just fine, and it gives you the detail in the shell that will give you a beautiful turtle. Let me show you a couple here that I worked up before we started. And these are just from some scraps that I have in my craft room here of just different variegated yarns and how they give you a really pretty little shell. So I'm going to set these aside and let's go ahead and get started on our turtle shell. With your variegated yarn of your choice and a size I crochet hook, you're going to start with a slip knot. Get that on your hook and loosely chain 2, 1 and 2. Now you can use a magic circle if you like. I find that this works well. Just make sure you leave yourself a nice long tail to sew back into your work once your shell is complete. In the second chain from the hook, we're going to start placing our stitches. So not counting the loop that's on our hook. This is our first chain. Here in our second chain, we're going to place 5 single crochet. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now don't close this round. This is round 1, 5 single crochet into that ring. Don't close it because we're just going to work in a continuous round as we go. Counting back 5 V's, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right here is where we're going to go. We're going to start round 2 right here in this brown V here in our variegated yarn. So round 2 is going to be an increase round. We're going to place 2 single crochet in every stitch around. So that will be a total of 10. You can use stitch markers if you like. So starting right here in this stitch, here's 1 single crochet, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So an increase round of 2 in each stitch. We started with 5, that leaves us with 10. Now you want to make sure that you go through both the front loop and the back loop when you're placing your stitches. Don't just go into the front loop or the back loop, go through both of them. Do not close off this round. We're going to go directly into round 3. Starting right here in our very next stitch, our increase is going to be 2 single crochet and then 1 single crochet around for a total of 15. Count them out as you go. So here's 1, 2. Moving to the next stitch is going to be single crochet number 3. Going to the next stitch, we'll place 2 of them in there. There's single crochet 4 and single crochet 5. Going to the next stitch, 6, 7, 8, 9. Remember, it's 2 and then 1. 10, 11, 12. I love that little speck of teal right there. This is our last increase. 13, 14, and 15. So it's an increase for our third round of 3s. We started with 5, so 5 times 3 is 15. We're going to move on to round 4. Don't close off a round. Again, we're working in this spiral. Going right here to our next stitch. It's going to be 2 single crochet and then 1 for a count of 4. 4 times 5 is 20, so when we're done with this round, we're going to have 20 stitches. Again, starting with 2. 1, 2 in that stitch. In the next stitch is going to be 3, and the next stitch is going to be 4. Continuing with our increase, this stitch is going to have number 5 and 6. The next stitch will hold number 7, and the next stitch will hold number 8. Continuing that increase, here's 9, 10, 11, 12. And look at how that shell is starting to come together. 13, 14, 15, 16. One more increase to go. 17, 18, 19, and 20. And that completes round 4. You're starting to be able to see some distinctive sides form on your shell as you go. We're going to go to the next round. This is going to be round 5 of our shell color. Don't complete all 5 increases because we're going to change things up right when we get to the very end. But this increase for round 5 is going to be 2 single crochet in the next stitch, and then a single crochet in the next, a single crochet in the next, and a single crochet in the next. Total of 5 stitches for the repeat for the increase, and we're going to do that 5 times around, but the last one, hold off on the last one because we will be changing it. So right here in this very next stitch, here's single crochet 1, single crochet 2, 3, 4, 5. This is an increase here. 6 and 7 go into that stitch. 8, 9, and 10. Increase in this next stitch here. 11 and 12. 13, 14, and 15. In our next stitch is an increase, so that's stitch number 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. We're going to do our last increase, but it's going to have some single crochets together in it, and that will be where we're going to have the neck for our shell, for our turtle. It's also going to be where we do a color change, so watch this one very carefully. In this next stitch, we're going to have our increase of 2. 1, 2, our next single crochet 3, and then our next 2 stitches, stitch number 4 and stitch number 5, are going to be a decrease. So we're going to go into this stitch and pull our yarn through, into the next stitch, pull our yarn through. We have 3 loops on our hook and pull through all 3 loops. That's number 24. Right here, same thing. Pull up a loop into the next stitch, pull up a loop, and here's where we're going to change color. This is going to be stitch number 25. It will be the last stitch that we're going to be using our variegated yarn, and then we're going to actually put a rim around the edge of our turtle. So grab a coordinating color that would be nice, that will really highlight the edge of your shell. I'm going to use this buff color, and I'm going to grab a nice long length of it so you have a nice long tail to sew in later. I'm going to hook that over my hook, and I'm going to pull it through, completing that stitch. And what that does is this gives me a loop now that's going to lay across my work as I start the ring of this shell. So going to our very next stitch right here, we're going to place a single crochet. There's one, and we're going to do a total of 10 all the way around as we go. No more increases. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. We want our turtle shell to kind of come to a point here. This is where the neck's going to be. We want this to come down to a point. I'm going to place one chain. Go right back out into that same stitch right there and place a single crochet, and we're going to count 10 up the other way now. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. In your very next stitch here, finish this off with a slip stitch. When I finish off my work, I like to chain 2. I like to leave myself a nice long tail. Cut your yarn. Go ahead and pull your yarn through the hook. Pinch the very top of that second chain and give your yarn a nice firm tug. That's going to cinch a knot right up against your work. Nothing's going to come undone here. Go back over here to where you joined your colors. Give them a nice little firm tug as well. And then you're going to want to sew in all of your ends. But there's the shell for our turtle. Now you'll notice it does have a little bit of a shape to it. You can lay it out, you can give it a little bit of a shape, you can block it if you want to, but you're going to have 5 distinctive sides. You're going to have the very top, which is your opening where the head comes out of the shell. Side 1 here, where you're going to attach 1 flipper. Side 2 here, where you're going to put the back flipper. Here's their little tail. You can add a tail if you want to, even though this pattern does not have the instructions for that. Little back flipper here on this side 3. And on side 4 will be the second front flipper. And again, up here at the top is where the head is. So this is a very grown up and beautiful turtle that you can use for when you're making those really pretty ocean wave blankets. Now let me bring these other ones back that I've already completed to show you just how using different colorways will give you different looks for your turtle shells. Here's one that's done in this pretty blue. So as you can see, you can get all different kinds of looks as long as you use a variegated yarn. Now, these are a little smaller. These were done with a size G hook. These are size I. You can change the size of your turtle just by going up or down a size on your hook. Let's get into making the head and the flippers. For the head and the flippers, I'm just using something out of my yarn stash. This is a really nice olive green color. You can use whatever color you like. Anything that's going to complement whatever your colorway is in your variegated yarn. We're going to start by making the head and the neck for our turtle. We're going to start with a slip knot. And we're going to go down a size to a size H hook. We want just a little bit tighter stitch here for our appendages for our turtle. And just like how we started the shell, we're going to start the same manner here. We're going to chain 2, 1 and 2. In the second chain from the hook is where we're going to place our stitches. So this is the loop that's on our hook. Here's chain 1, here's chain 2. We're going to put a series of stitches in here, starting with a single crochet. So there's our single crochet. Next, we're going to place a half double crochet in that same chain space there. half double crochet. Next, we're going to place a double crochet. And now we're going to place 3 treble crochet. So yarn over twice and then go into that stitch, completing a treble crochet. There's 1. We want 3 of them. There's 2. And here's 3. We're going to follow that with a double crochet and then a half double crochet. Do you see why you need to leave yourself a nice long tail? As this stitch stretches out, as you put all of these stitches in here, you want to make sure you've got a nice long tail. We're going to finish up the head portion of this with that single crochet. Now we're just going to slip stitch into that chain that we've been working in, and we can now give our yarn a little bit of a tug here to close that up just a bit. We're going to chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. We're going to work back towards the head in our chains, but we're not going to work in the loops that you would traditionally work in. Let's talk about the anatomy of a chain a little bit. You have this top loop here that makes one portion of the V of your chain. You've got the bottom little loop here that makes the bottom portion of the V of your chain. They look like little teardrops or V's. But if you turn your chains over and look at them on the back, you'll find that there are these linear bars that run along the back of your chains. We're going to be working in these bars. So turning our work over, we're going to work in the second chain. So not this chain, right over here to this bar. This is the second bar right here. We're going to do half double crochets. So yarn over, slip your hook into that bar, grab your yarn and pull it back through, yarn over and complete that half double crochet. We're going to place 4 of them along this chain now. So moving to the next bar, slide your hook underneath, grab your yarn and pull it back through and complete a half double crochet. Yarn over and go into the very next bar, complete a half double crochet. One more time, you've got one more bar right here, complete that last half double crochet. And now your work's a little topsy-turvy. This is the back of the head and you're working here because remember we flipped that chain over. Flip your head back over and you'll see that that neck now will align perfectly with the head. Locate that slip stitch that you placed in earlier and complete another slip stitch. And then finish off your work. Again, I like to chain 2, cut my yarn leaving a nice long tail. Pull my yarn through and pinch those 2 and pull that, cinch that up tight up against my work. And now we do have this little bit of a hole here in the center where we worked all of those stitches into this chain. Give that a nice firm tug as well. Don't break your yarn, but give that a nice firm tug. And here you have an elongated head for your turtle, and what's even better is you've got a flexible neck. When you put this onto your turtle shell, if you want your turtle to look this way, you can. If you want them to look that way, you can. When you sew the applique to your work, you've got just a little bit of a point here, so it's a little bit more realistic and less childlike than some of the other turtles that are out there for some of the blankets. So once you pull everything together, go ahead and sew in your ends, and let's move on to working on our flippers. We're going to use the same color green that we did for the head to make the front flippers. So we're going to make 2 of these. Again, we're going to start with a slip knot and placing that on our hook, and we're going to chain 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Once again, we're going to be working in the bar of our chains. So turning our work over and going to this second chain right here, we're going to place a single crochet. We're going to the next bar, we're going to place a half double crochet. Into the next bar, a double crochet. In the next bar, a double crochet. And one more time for the third double crochet here in this next bar, right there, a double crochet. In the next bar, we're going to work our way back down now, a half double crochet. And then in the very last bar, a single crochet to finish off our flipper. Don't slip stitch or anything, just like that. And we've got a really nice curved little flipper for our turtle. Go ahead, chain 2 so you can finish off, leaving a nice long tail, because we're going to need these tails now to sew our flippers to our turtle shell. So here's our first little flipper, and you can see it naturally has a little bend in it. Because we worked in the bars in the back, if it goes on this side of the turtle, you can do a bar. If you have it on this side of the turtle, you can give it just a little bit of a twist, and you can adjust this however you want them. They're flexible, so you can twist them however you like. I'm going to go ahead and place this one under the shell. You're going to make 2 of these, and then let's move on to the little back flippers for our turtle. Again, with the olive green, we're going to start with a slip knot, place that onto our hook, leaving a nice long tail. We're going to chain 2, 1, 2. Working in that second chain, just like what we've been doing the entire time for this project, we're going to place a single crochet in that chain, followed by a double crochet in that chain, followed by 2 treble crochet. Here's 1, and here's 2. Now you're going to chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and slip stitch right back into this chain we've been working in. This counts as another treble crochet, but it brings our work back down here to where we started when we just slip stitched that. Chain 2 so you can finish off. Cut your yarn, leaving a nice long tail. Pull that through and cinch that knot down right up against your work. Take the other tail from where you started your chain 2, give that a nice cinch as well. And here you have this cute little paddle, this little foot for the back of your turtle. And let me go ahead and place that under our turtle here. Make 2 of those as well. Now what you want to do is sew in all of your ends on your shell. Then use the tails and actually sew it to your work. What's really nice about having the variegated yarn is if you come up through the shell with the green and then go back down, it's going to blend in beautifully. You're not going to see it. You can sew everything together and you're on your way. I'm going to put this one together and I'll be right back. I went ahead and I finished up making our little flippers and everything for our little turtle. And I just want to show you the placement where you're going to want to sew these onto the back. Again, where we don't have any of the shell lining here, this is where our head is going to come out. Bring your yarn down and sew it here. And what's really nice is even with this olive color, if it comes through a little bit on this side, you're not going to notice it. It's okay. Then on side 1, cut. And then on each side of the neck, you're going to want to place your flippers. And then along the back sides, here's our little pointy little tail. I'm going to want to go ahead and put the little back flippers. Now, I told myself before I made this video, I was going to research and find out what the names were for the little flippers. Do you know? If you do, make sure you comment below and let me know. Are they dorsal flippers? Are they little petal feet? I don't know. Do they have specific names? I don't know. So comment below, let me know. One thing I really like about this head and neck design is you can turn your turtle any direction you like. If he's going to swim off this way, if he's going to swim off this way. We've got an elongated head here, so when you sew it to your blanket, you can put a stitch so that it elongates it, so it's a little bit more realistic. If you want to, you can add eyes. For mine, I chose not to add eyes just because I just wanted it to be that natural feel. I didn't want it to have any whimsy. I just wanted it to be a sea turtle. So for your flippers, same thing. As you're determining which way your turtle's going to go, let's say our turtle's going to turn this way. We can have our flipper kind of bend this way, and we can bring this one up this way, and then give it a little bend. However you decide to sew it to your blanket is entirely up to you. These are totally posable. With the little back flippers here, since we've got the treble crochets in the back, if you want to go ahead and attach it to your blanket and give it just a little bit of a point, you can. You can do anything you like with them. When you're sewing your turtle applique onto your blanket, if you're going to be sewing on this color of your blanket, then this is the yarn you're going to sew this on with. What I suggest you do is take this 4-ply and split it into a 2-ply. Separate this yarn. We're just going to separate that into a 2-ply. Get this onto your needle, and then you're ready to go ahead and sew this onto your blanket. If you use the same color as your blanket, it's not going to show on the back side. What's really nice about using the variegated color is it's not going to show on the front side either. So for instance, if my colorway on my blanket, the waves were this color of aqua, I can come up on my turtle right here between where the edging of the shell is and the body of the shell. Pull my yarn up through, and then just make a teeny tiny little stitch and pull it right back through to the other side. And when you do this firmly on your blanket, you're not even going to really notice that stitch. It just kind of blends in with the variegated of the shell. The same with your flippers and your head. If you use the same color yarn, you just want to barely catch the back side of your stitches and sew it onto your blanket. And when you do that, you're not going to see that color come up through the fin. So that's what I recommend you do. Figure out the placement of all of your turtles, determine are they going to swim this way, or are they going to swim that way, and have a lot of fun, personalize it, and make your blanket your own. Well, thank you so much for joining me here in the craft room today, making this really fun little sea turtle that's just a little more grown up. Until I see you again here in the craft room, make sure you take care of yourself, take care of each other, and have a blessed day. Bye-bye.